Welcome to the Prophecy Club. Our topic today is a videotape showing you that Russia can and is easily destroying the German Leopard tanks as well as the U.S. fighting Bradleys, the Bradley vehicles. And the point is, if they can destroy the German Leopard tanks and the U.S. Bradleys as easily as you're about to see that they do, then you got to assume that they can do the same thing to the American M1A1 Abrams tank, supposedly the best tank on the battlefield. Maybe God has given the Russians technology to take out America just like he said he was. Okay, so before we get into that part of it, let me just show you video footage I thought was very interesting. And this is from Sam Altman. And he says, these are crazy lines. You're looking at the lines right now. These are people standing in line, what? To go and get their iris scanned so that they can be a part of the new world coin. So, if they'll stand in line to get their iris scanned that easily, are they going to resist the mark of the beast? Probably not. Probably most people, especially if they haven't read Revelation 13, if they're not a Christian, if they haven't read Revelation 13, they're going to be an easy target. Revelation 13:16 says, "And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, receive a mark in the right hand or in their foreheads. And then no man might buy or sell, save he had the mark of the name of the beast or the number of his name." And they are, well, suckers for it. Also, in preparation for what I'm about to say, Jeremiah 50 verse 3 says, "Out of the north," that would be Russia, "there cometh up a nation against her, which shall make her land desolate," that would be the Russians attacking America. Also, verse 9 says, "Their arrows shall be as of a mighty expert man, and none shall return in vain." These days, they have technology, and their missiles don't miss. You're about to see that. First article, experts cautious about Iran's bold claim of AI, or artificial intelligence, guided ghost missiles. Iran has announced the production of artificial intelligence-powered missiles. Now, if I were Iran, I would have kept my mouth shut. But in that they have announced that, I think it was a mistake. But I also think that, I don't know, what I heard someplace, maybe it's the art of war, and that is when your enemy tells you he could do something, you probably are smart to believe it. Now, probably America is not believing this because they think they're the greatest nation that's ever been around, right? So Iran has announced the production of artificial intelligence-powered missiles, which officials claim can avoid obstructions and hit a target with pinpoint accuracy. We aren't able to verify the exact abilities of this latest missile, but I think it would be naive for the White House not to take Tehran seriously, and I do too. With the mass production of Abu Mahdi missile, we will be able to fire at the enemy's moving targets in the sea from the depths of the Iranian soil and entirely hidden places at the maximum operating pace, and completely destroy the enemy ships, frigates, and destroyers. Now, did you catch that word? Right here, let me show you. That word there, Mahdi. You know what the Mahdi is? Well, the Mahdi is a guy that I believe was like 1300, fell into a well, and the Muslims believe, and it's written in their Quran reportedly, that in a time of great trouble, when the Mahdi will rise out of the well and lead the world into a great victory as in Armageddon. So the Mahdi is the Antichrist version of the Muslims. I think it's interesting that they call it the Mahdi missile. Now let's go to the next article. This comes to us from War News, as does most of the videos today. Desperation cry from Kiev. We urgently need anti-aircraft Russians because anti-aircraft Russians have improved and Patriots aren't enough. Ukraine lacks sufficient and anti-aircraft weapons to protect its grain storage and export infrastructure from Russian strikes, as Moscow has blockaded almost all ports in the country. Russia stepped up its attacks on the port of Odessa and other major cities in southern Ukraine after it pulled out of a deal to export Ukrainian grain through the Black Sea. They say, we need anti-missile and anti-aircraft defense. Now, you remember, Vicky Goforth Parnell was told in an audible voice, and I believe she is hearing from God, that the whole point of this, the Ukraine-Russia thing, is to get NATO and America to use all of their bullets, all of the missiles, everything they have, so that they're pretty much out of ammo by the time the Russians attack. In my opinion, that's pretty smart. You might say it's an ambush. It goes on to say Ukrainian forces mainly need U.S. F-16 fighter jets. That's right. Let's send them all of our weapons. Russia will defeat those and then come for us. Jeremiah 50 verse 7 says, we offend not, because they have sinned against the Lord. And, sad to say, that's true. On in the article it says Russia has improved. Although Ukraine already has Western anti-missile systems, such as the American Patriot, Russia is every time improving its tactics and not stopping. In other words, as NATO, America sends equipment over to Russia, Russia figures out how to defeat it or to get around it to get the victory, and that's exactly what they're doing. He claimed that Moscow is simultaneously launching cruise and hypersonic and anti-ship missiles, while Ukrainian defense systems are dispersed and cannot deal with this threat. What they're saying is all of NATO and all of America and all of Ukraine, for that matter, thrown against Russia is not defeating Russia. No ship can leave, he says, because it relies on the goodwill of the Western allies and hopes that they will deliver anti-aircraft systems to it on time. In other words, Ukraine keeps losing and losing and losing. They keep asking NATO and America to send more, send more, send more, send more. And eventually it's going to get down to boots on the ground and American blood in Ukraine, probably just before the Russians totally take us out. According to Henry Gruver, from launch to detonation was under 60 seconds. Take us out in 1 hour. Next part of the article says video. Russians break Leopard, 2A4 and 2A6 and Bradley destruction record in 24 hours. They destroyed 17 of them. Congratulations to Putin and his army. Wow. In other words, everything that America, Ukraine, and NATO, and Germany is part of NATO, everything that's being thrown at the Russians, they're shooting them like fish in a barrel. Moscow is talking about the Leopard 2A4 and 2A6 destruction records as well as Bradley. Indeed, the images of the losses of the Ukrainian army are shocking. I'm about to show you video of some of them. The videos you see are about Ukrainian losses in 24 hours. Is it about the battle? And I'll leave those words up to you to try to decipher. In this first video, you'll see 3 Bradleys attacked outside of this city, and 2 of them are destroyed. I'll read Jeremiah 50, verse 22 and 3 and 4. A sound of battle is in the land, and of great destruction. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, that would be America, and thou wast not aware. Thou art found, and also caught, because thou hast striven against the Lord. All of this, what you're seeing, is the hand of the Lord, designed to bring his nation down, because his nation has turned from him, become the habitation of devils, the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. Going on with the article. Russian army destroyed 7 Leopard, 10 Bradleys in 1 day. More than 160 soldiers, 7 Leopard tanks, 15 armored fighting vehicles, including 10 Bradley infantry fighting vehicles, were all destroyed in 1 day. It should be noted that these 2, and by the way, the word there is not translated correct, in these 2 days, 24 hours, 2 days, I think that's what they're trying to say, are currently the most tense parts of the contact line. The Ukrainian army makes regular attempts to break through the Russian defenses. The Ukrainian side was fully equipped with military equipment supplied by the West, In terms of destroying Leopards and Bradleys, we have never destroyed so many foreign vehicles in one day. Ukraine's losses amount to about 26,000 soldiers, this all in one day, since the start of their counteroffensive. Of course, that said since the start. Jeremiah 50, verse 26, come against her, talking about America, from the utmost border, open her storehouses, cast her up as heaps, and destroy her utterly. Let nothing of her be left. Slay all her bullocks. So when the Russians come in, they're going to kill all of our cattle. Just like we did to defeat the Indians, we killed all of their buffalo. We killed their food supply. Therefore, they were at our mercy. That's what they're going to do. They're going to kill all of our cattle. Let them go down to the slaughter. Woe to them. For their day has come, the time of their visitation. Now, I've read this many times, but it's very important to read it right now. April 1997, Dmitry Duduman. I knelt beside my bed to pray, as I do every night before I go to sleep. After finishing my prayer, I opened my eyes, but I was no longer in my room. Instead, I found myself in a forest. I looked around to my right, and I saw a man dressed in white who pointed his finger and said, "See and remember." It took me a while to find out what he was pointing at. It was a small bear, that would be Russia, who seemed half dead, lying on the ground. As I continued to watch this bear, it began to breathe deeper. In other words, perestroika and glasnost back in the 80s, Russia was almost dead. With every passing minute, it seemed to revive itself, and as I watched, it also became angrier. Well, Russia paid off all of her debts. She's hit massive amounts of oil, which she's selling to the rest of the world. And instead of building great big castles and buying fancy airplanes and things like that, she's building a great war machine to defeat her enemy, that would be America. It became angrier. And right now, America, everything we are doing is making the Russian bear angry. Our Moloch leaders are making the bear angry. It then began to grow, and that has happened over the last few years. Soon it was larger than the forest floor. It means soon it was larger than NATO and America combined. Soon it was larger than the forest floor, and as it grew larger, it continued to grow angrier. It then began to paw the ground, so that when its paw would hit the ground, the earth would shudder. That's where we are today. The bear continued to devastate all that stood in its path. That's the video you're watching right now. You're seeing the bear devastating all that we throw at it. The bear continued to devastate all that stood in his path until it came upon some men with sticks, trying to fend it off. That would be NATO and America. By this time, the bear had grown so large, so powerful, that it simply crushed the men, NATO and America, underfoot and continued to rampage. I was stunned by what I saw and asked the man standing beside me, "What does this mean?" The angel said, "At first, they thought the great bear was dead." The man said, "But as it would begin to stir once again, they will consider it harmless." That's where we were a few years ago, but not today. Suddenly, it will go strong once more with purpose and violence. So the video you're seeing right now is the Russian bear growing strong with purpose and violence. You're seeing the Russian bear fighting off NATO and America, and it's like fighting off a giant bear with sticks. America's in trouble. America's in trouble. So I recommend that you get yourself prepared. First, ask Jesus to forgive your sins. Second, I think as a watchman, you're obligated to send this video out to as many people as you possibly can. It took me about 20 minutes to make these 2 loaves in my kitchen at an ingredient cost of about $12 each. In a time of food shortage and emergency, I'm going to cut each one of these loaves into 14 slices. Eat a slice in the morning and the afternoon, I'll be satisfied. You want long-term food storage? You want to cut your food costs? Here it is. Eat 2 whole wheat bread slices daily for about a year for about $800 each. JosephKitchen.com's wheat berries come in a nitrogen-infused 7-gallon pail for long-term storage. Most other emergency food costs about $10,000 per person per year. That's right, about $10,000 per person per year. But at Joseph Kitchen, you could do it for about $1,000 per person per year. Now, to get started at josephkitchen.com, you're going to need a machines package. That's going to give you the grinder, the bread machine, the knife slicer, all you need to make bread, and then you decide how much food you want to get. You want food 6 people 1 year, 4 people 1 year, 2 people 1 year, or just 1 person for a year, all at josephkitchen.com. About $1,000 per person per year at josephskitchen.com. Use the promo code Prophecy Club. Get you a $50 discount. josephskitchen.com, promo code Prophecy Club for a $50 discount on your first order. Terry Saka with CornerstoneAssetMetals.com. So what's going on in the world of finances? Why should they call today?
Well, China has laid out in a speech a few weeks ago exactly what they think of the United States. I haven't seen that in my 55 years. With China and Russia forming these reserve currencies, new reserve currency, we better be prepared because that dollar is going to be in deep trouble and we're going to need assets to protect us from it.
CornerstoneAssetMetals.com. Call them or go online, CornerstoneAssetMetals.com, or call them at 888-747-3309. 888-747-3309. Next is, I'll send you to EMPShield.com. If you use the promo word prophecy, you get a $50 discount. What is that? Well, it looks like this. This is the one that goes into a car, okay? And you put the red wire to the red side of the battery, you put the black wire to the black side of the battery, and the green one attaches to the body of the car. Then you peel it off right back here. Just peel that off, stick it inside of the engine compartment of your car. And the whole point is when the electricity goes off or when some kind of a suitcase nuke or a nuclear device goes off, this is supposed to be able to stop that device from destroying every computer chip in your car. Because if every computer chip is destroyed in your car these days, you couldn't possibly replace them all. Throw the car away. So, EMPShield.com, promo code prophecy. When a nuclear device is detonated, the dust settles on everything. You breathe it, absorb it, you cannot stop it. And when you breathe it or absorb it, it floods your thyroid with bad iodine, killing your thyroid and killing you. But there is a solution. I just went out to my freezer. This is mine. I keep it out there. I've had it for several years. And it says, this is potassium iodide. As a matter of fact, I keep it in the freezer, and I keep them in a Ziploc bag, just like this. This is my personal supply we keep in the freezer. So there you go. Now, it's $30 a bottle. If you order 5 bottles, you get an extra bottle free. You need 1 bottle per exposure per person, and it has the instructions on it. But anyway, I would suggest you go to prophecyclub.com, and let me just tell you, we've only got 100 bottles. Now, we've already made plans to get another 1,000 bottles in, being this is coming up. Right now, we only have 100. So my suggestion is you get over to prophecyclub.com and you get your bottles ordered real quick. You might even be a part of the 100 that we have. And if not, then another week or so after that, we will get some more bottles, get it out to you. $30 a bottle, order 5 and get a 6th one free. Here it is, potassium iodide. Is your life worth $30? I mean, you may as well have it. I mean, spend $30. Spend $30. So you get a suitcase nuke in the area, something like that. Not worried.